Stories by the Fireplace, Volume 1. This book is a compilation of short folk tales from different communities in Kenya, stories that were told to the authors by their grandparents around the fireplace in their home villages. Hi, this is Clarity Coach Lucy, and this is Tuesday Talks at 3. Welcome to our episode. Kenya is an amazing country with a rich cultural diversity. Today, we spotlight Joyce Wanjiru, a co-author who has used her medium of voice to highlight and celebrate this diversity. Well, Joyce is also the founder, not only a co-author, but she is a founder of Stories by the Fireplace, Volume 1. And this is a book, like I have said, that seeks to inspire and remind us and the generations to come about the culture, the heritage, and important lessons of our country, Kenya, a country that we love so much. So it's just my honor to be able to use my platform to bring together people like Joyce. Joyce, who has been able to create a space for people to write their stories. Now, her name is Joyce Wanjiru. However, I call her Joy. And this is joy to our country during this very special season. And what a beautiful topic to be having. And this is celebrating our Kenyan diversity. So today we ask the question. And before I ask the question, I just want to check and see that indeed we are live so that we can get you all on the same page and knowing how we are flowing with this and who our guest is. And yes, indeed, we have been live for the last 2 minutes. Let's see. Yes, we have been live for the last 2 minutes. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. So the question today is, how are you celebrating the Kenyan diversity? How are you celebrating the Kenyan diversity? Please share your thoughts and contributions here on the live chat. And both Joy and I are going to sample them so that we can see how we are all celebrating this Kenyan diversity, especially in the season that we are in as a country at the moment. So I'd like to welcome Joy to the screen. As she comes onto the screen, thank you so much for joining us, guys, here on Tuesday Talks at 3. Today we are spotlighting Joy, and Joy is a founder of Stories by the Fireplace, Volume 1. As you can see, that is the book right there. Amazing book, and I'm so happy and honored to have her here with us so that she can tell us her bit. Now, remember, the question is, how are you celebrating the Kenyan diversity? Joy is here to tell us how she's doing exactly that. But we want to hear from you so that we can be able to sample some of your answers. So how are you celebrating the Kenyan diversity is the question. There, Joy, most welcome. It is so lovely to see you there on the screen.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today.
You're most welcome. We have one of our anniversary followers, and that is Jane Kuvuna. She's already here watching, and she says, hello, ladies. So we're saying, hello, Jane. Good to have you here. And we also have Kavi Mwendwa, who's another anniversary follower. It is so good to see you here, Kavi. Karibu sana. Well, Joy, we're going to just dive straight into it. And we start off with you telling us a little bit about yourself, Joy.
All right. Thank you so much, Lucy, for having me today. It's such a pleasure to be able to join you again for the second time. So yes. I'm really excited. And it's an honor to just be here again. So I want to thank all our viewers today for joining us. And my name is Joyce Wanjiro. Yes, you can call me Joy too. And Joy is a graduate from the University of Nairobi, where I did communication and psychology. And I'm also the founder of Impart a Generation. Impart a Generation is a is a program where we advocate for mental wellness. And I am very passionate about mental wellness because mental health is a big part of my life. Once you have gone through anything to do with mental health, depression, or be it PTSD or anxiety, it sticks with you. And after you overcome that, you really want to go out there and tell people you can overcome, you can get out of it. And that is my message. And that's why I'm so passionate about mental health, because I have been a victim of depression, and I thank God that I got out of it. And I'm here to just let people know that it's possible. You know, you don't have to die alone. There is help available.
Yeah.
Yes, and so that's what I do with Impact a Generation. And I'm also currently joining from Japan because I traveled to Japan early this year. And yes, I'm currently based here. But again, I'm the founder of the Stories by the Fireplace, and I'm very excited about this book. So if you don't have your book, please make sure you get a copy.
I'm so excited to hold this book. Thank you so much for introducing yourself. Exactly. It's such a beautiful book. And Joy, we've got Lois, who is just joining us here, because I'm looking at the feed and I can see that Louis is with us. And Louis is saying that he's looking forward to the conversation. Yeah. So Louis is one of the co-authors, and he was with us a week before last. So we celebrate you, Louis, and we do hope that your nomination is going well. We do hope it's going well. Okay, so that's a little bit about yourself. I'm interested about the people that you are targeting with this book. Who are they?
So this book, actually, it's for everyone. I would say everyone, from grandmothers to grandfathers, children, parents, any young person. This book is for everyone. And why do I say everyone? This is because not everyone had these moments that we had with our grandparents. Some people missed out on it, you know, and because these stories actually, they are memory for us, because we had these moments with our grandparents. Those days that the schools would close and we'd all be sent to the village, and we would, you know, stay the whole month with our grandparents. I just realized not everyone had this moment, because as soon as we got this book out, everyone was like, oh, wow, I want to have that book because I missed on such moments.
Yes.
So, and this book is also for anyone who probably lives abroad and is Kenyan, and probably they never, you know, experienced their roots. So this is a book that will actually teach them lessons that we were taught probably that they never had a chance to. And of course, everyone who supports African culture and African content, this book is for you.
Wow, that's amazing. And you know, you said to us that you are tuning in from Japan. I can almost imagine the richness of this book and how much value it is bringing to whatever sent you there. The fact that now you can carry something that is uniquely Kenyan, and you can explain to people out there about the culture, the diversity, the heritage of Kenya, that already gives a lot of people that opportunity to walk around with it. This book is powerful. Thank you so much for being a founder. You touched on something else also. Not everybody had the opportunity to sit down with grandparents. I never did. I come from a mixed marriage. My parents are from different backgrounds. May they rest in peace. They're from different backgrounds. And we moved to a specific town, specifically Mombasa. And that is where I was born and I was brought up. So I became knowledgeable of the Mjikenda culture, but of my real and true culture, I knew nothing. And I didn't have grandparents who are alive so that we could visit them in the village and they would tell us. So reading stories like this is powerful for me, because I am able to relate to the different cultures in Kenya. And I am then a truly Kenyan representative when I have the strength of this. So I thank you so much for this tool. There are many of us like me out here who are using this today as a source of entertainment, a source of passing on. Like I was mentioning when we were chatting, I shared stories here with my grandson. And he was in awe of the stories that were coming out of here. He did not ask me about tribes. He was celebrating with me the diversity. Now, look at that, you know, in just one book. But anyway, I digress. Now, what inspired you to write this book, Joy?
Wow, so this book is actually inspired by my son, and actually you will see at the part where we have the acknowledgement, I mentioned about my son. So my son is 5 years old, and sometime 2 years ago, while telling him bedtime stories, I started trying to remember the stories that my grandparents told me. And this is because much as my son has a grandmother, the grandmother is too busy, you know. She's there, but she really also does not remember these stories. So I try to remember because she's busy. And, you know, the truth is life has changed a lot, and technology, you know, when we go to the village, everyone comes with their phone, and really those moments are not happening anymore. So I try to remember the stories my grandmother told me, but I realized I couldn't remember the whole of the stories. I could remember the songs because I love the songs, but part of the stories, I was missing part of the stories. And that's when actually it hit me. Wow, actually, my son may never hear these stories because they're totally getting forgotten. And I remember I used to call my grandmother and I would ask her, oh, how did this story go? And she would narrate me the story, and I would be like, wow. And that's when I realized if these stories were put in a book, maybe my son would have these stories and he would read. And whenever he has his children, he could actually pass it on. So that's when I actually got the idea of coming up with the stories by the fireplace. And after that, I reached out to my other friends and they said, oh, we also had those moments, but they're no longer there. And that's when we said, okay, let's put up a book together so that we can pass it on. And that's how the book came about.
Powerful. You know, it's one thing to have an idea, an epiphany, you know, it's another thing to bring it into fruition. People are all about change. People are all about bringing in new things, new thought patterns. But it takes a different kind of an individual to actually, you know, execute, to actualize a plan. And I take my hat off to you because you did not do this alone. You had co-authors who did this with you. And it's just amazing that a group of people could have come together to do this. And we would love to hear more about this later on as we go through our session of celebrating Kenyan diversity. We'd like to hear more about how you all came together. But yes, you have raised a very valid point there. Modernization is how I would sum it up. Because being a grandmother myself, you can see where I am. I am on Zoom. I am not by the fireplace. Yeah. As a grandmother, when my grandson is visiting, I'm busy. And yes, I will carve out time for him. And this kind of a book provides me with that opportunity to be able to share with him our diversity and celebrate this and the pride that comes with it so that it is not forgotten. This is the new way now. We document and we share. We really share. So the fact that you did this is amazing. Now, what values do you touch on in your book?
Wow. So that's one of the things that I've mentioned is these stories were not just told to us by our grandparents for entertainment. They were actually teaching us lessons. And, you know, our grandparents could not just come and tell us, oh, don't do this. They would tell us through stories. And that story will stay with you. And when you remember how you were taught about being obedient, being obedient, then you remember, oh, the story. And one of the stories that I wrote here is about Wanjiro.
Yeah.
So the story about Wanjiro is the Wanjiro, she was beautiful, but she was a bit prideful because she didn't want to get married to the men who came, the suitors who came. But finally, she decided to choose a suitor who looked rich and all that. And he looked like, he had the best of looks, and he looked, he came loaded. And then after that, she got married and she realized, oh, it was an ogre, And so that was like telling us that, you know what, it's not about the looks. Looks are deceiving, yes. So there's more to the look. There's a lot you need to look at, even when you're looking for a suitor. There's integrity, there's character, and all that. Not just looking at someone, how much money they have and how they look. Yeah, so that's one of them. And the other one is about being obedient. And the story about the monkey who didn't listen to his mother. Is just trying to teach. And I have used that story with my son a lot of times, that you need to be able to listen. When your mother says don't do this, she knows why she's telling you to do this. So those are some of the things. And when you look at all these other stories, they bring out lessons like integrity. Be a person of integrity, be an honest person, be a person of character. It is important to be obedient. Just those lessons, those little lessons that go a long way in building someone's character and being a person of integrity. Yes.
Yeah, it's just amazing. As you're telling us the story of Wanjiru, what comes to mind is all that glitters is not gold. Yeah, here you are thinking that this one thing is going to change your life, and therefore you're only taking it at face value. You're not doing a deep dive to get to know this person or this system better. You're just being lured by the shiny object until the truth comes out. I love the values that you're talking about, and integrity is a big one for me. And I do my courses because I'm a trainer. I do courses on how to identify your core values. And one of the things that I do is I break down what integrity means and all the other clusters of words that lend to integrity. And why do we do this during the session? So that as we break it down, you begin to realize exactly the burden, if I would use that word, although it may be having a negative connotation, but the burden of integrity, what it means. This means in every time that you show up, is integrity there with you? So as you speak, are you true to your words to yourself? When you hear yourself, are you speaking truth or are you lying to yourself? When you're with other people, how are you expressing yourself? When you're put in situations where you are being tempted to do something, what is your response? Integrity is that thing that comes with a burden. And you must be able to recognize that you are human and you will trip and fall. But how do you get back up from a point of integrity? And this kind of a lesson for me, when I am mentoring the youth and we talk about integrity and how they show up, I bring to mind what the youth believe in the here and now, the convenience, the quick to fix at the touch of a button. And integrity doesn't work like that. Integrity is something that we nurture for a while before it becomes second nature to us. And I absolutely love the fact that you talked about this as one of the values. One of the other values that you were referring to here on obedience, And I am a believer. And for me, in my Bible, it talks about respect for authority. Respect for authority. I may have a totally different outlook on something, but doesn't mean that I disrespect authority. I need to listen. I need to give authority time to place out their cards on the table. And today, in today's world, this has served me very well. I may go into a meeting or into a gathering, and I find that authority is there. Or something as simple as paying my taxes. Yes, there are very many conspiracies as to where the tax money goes, but that is not in my control. What is in my control, Joy, is that am I paying my taxes according to the timelines that have been given? And how am I sharing my taxes? Is it from a point of integrity? And again, these are lessons that are a byproduct of this book. So I'm just loving it. But my question to you today then is, because even as we speak about them, it could just be words that we are throwing around, you know, like in a CV or in an interview, and you're asked, what are your values? And you drop them. How do you keep these values sustainable, Joy?
That's a very good question, because one of the things that we can keep this value sustainable, and I give an example with my son. I'd say my son watches me. My son will listen to, actually we say that children, because I'm a teacher, children learn from, yes, they will learn from what you say, but mostly they learn from what you do. They learn by watching you, because they learn by repetition. When they see you do something, they will tend to do that. And you can tell this because when you look at children who grow up in maybe families where, you know, bad words are used, you know, using the curse words, the children grow up and they pick that up because it's modeled to them. But if you raise up a child to be respectful and they watch you respecting other people, that's what they pick and that's what they'll do. So I say the best way that we can pass these values is how we model it to the ones who are watching us, our children, our sisters, our brothers, and even to the people around us. If you're an employer, your employees look up to you. They'll treat, if someone comes into the company, they'll treat you the way they see the boss treat them. So I'd say modeling is the first and most important thing. And the number two thing I would say is by passing them, preserving these stories and passing them over to the next generation is just the best way of, you know, passing on what we got, what we received.
Yeah, I love that, being a role model and passing it on. And these are things that we have to be intentional about. You know, you were just giving an example there about places of work. And it's another thing that I do. I also do corporate culture. I train in this. And I say to management that corporate culture is learned, you know, by watching. So you gave a very good example there. When a new member of staff comes in, how are we going to treat them? We will treat them the way we have seen others being treated, or the way we were treated when we came in. And this is corporate culture. This is us copying, seeing, keeping it to mind. So what is it that we are being as role models? What is it that we are being as role models? What is it we are choosing to be as role models? What is it that we are choosing to pass on? So it doesn't necessarily have to be in a scenario of children, but even with adults, as we are working, what are we passing on? And I go back again to values, principles, ethics. As a people in Kenya, what are we choosing to fill our cup with? Are we choosing to fill our cup with these core values and ethics, which if somebody was today to knock you over, knock your cup over, what is it that is going to spill over? Is it the values, the love, the joy, the celebrating of diversity that is going to pour out? Or is it the angst? Is it the jealousy? Is it the corruption? Is it the greed? You know, it's, you know, the choice is in our hands, Joy. And I love that we choose to be role models starting from the younger generation, because then once we instill in them, then they will become the Kenya that we all want. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. Well, guys, today we have Joy Wanjiru. She is the founder of Stories by the Fireplace. This is volume 1. Already we had Louis Momanyi, who is one of the co-authors, who was with us 2 weeks ago. And he was here telling us about the Abagusi community. And today we are looking at the Agikuyu, the Kikuyu community. And our question is to you, how are you celebrating the Kenyan diversity? Please share your thoughts and contributions here live on chat. And we, both Joy and I, are going to sample them. Now, just talking about this, I just want to read something from the book. And it says, the Kikuyu community. The Kikuyu or Agikuyu are a central Bantu community. They share common ancestry with the Embu, Kamba, Tharaka, Meru, and Mbere. Traditionally, they inhabited the area around Mount Kenya, including the following counties: Murang'a, Nyeri, Kiambu, Nyandarua, Kirinyaga, and Nakuru. So the history is the forerunners of the Kikuyu and several other groups in East Africa were the Vagishu, a Bantu-speaking group who from the late 11th century migrated to the region from Central Africa. You know, one of those things, did you know? Did you know? If you did not know, now you know. Yeah. The Vagishu began to clear the forests around the southern slopes of Mount Kenya to create land suitable for agriculture. They established themselves primarily as agriculturalists around Mount Kenya and the highlands. The Kikuyu thrived and were able to use their foodstuff surplus to trade with neighbors such as the Maasai people. And you can imagine, you know, when you think about what it is that we have today in the Kenyan diversity, you'll find that the Kikuyu intermarried with the Maasai such a long time ago. Yes. And certain features, you can actually see them coming through the generation. So that is just a short insight. My favorite part in your stories that you wrote here was the story about, let me just pick it out here. And it was, and this is a favorite one for me because I was reading it to my grandson, and it is The Man and His Swollen Knee. And this story is beautiful. I am not going to tell you what the story is about, guys, because I want you to buy this book. I want you to get your own copy and be able to read. However, what was beautiful about this story is that there's a song in here. And songs were the ways that the generation before us, the generation before them communicated. And just like Joy was saying, these are things then that remain with you. So the song that was sung in this story, one of the things that I understood it was used for was for security reasons, where then the young girls were able to hear this song, were able to relate to the voice of the singer and know who it was. Unfortunately, they were fooled in the end or conned. And they invited somebody into their home who had managed to trick them. So you can only imagine the kind of rich lessons that come out from this story. You want to buy this book, and Joy will be telling us shortly how to get hold of this book. And the story I'm referring to is The Man and His Swollen Knee. And you said your favorite story was about Wanjiru.
Yes, Wanjiru from the Nine Hills is one of my favorite. I'd say I love all the stories here, even the stories from the other communities, but I love the story about Wanjiru from the Nine Hills. And I remember my grandmother loved telling us these story about Wanjiru, because she would tell us, you know, you girls, when you grow up, you know, don't just, you know, when it's time to get married, don't just look at the appearance of how someone looks like. And so she told us the story about Wanjiru who went for the looks and missed out on the good men and ended up with an old guy. Yes. But yes, but my favorite is also the story about the monkey who loved singing on trees, and because it's a story my son loved, and I told him that over and over, and he would tell me, "Oh, could you tell me the story of the monkey today?" Yes, and so yeah, and he knows the song, so he can sing the song with me whenever I'm telling him that story.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Joy. So stories were not only just written down, they were also sang. And this is what is so beautiful about this book. We may not have the tune, the music, but we have the words. And Joy, there's something profound you said when we started out. And you said this is how the lessons were remembered.
Yes.
And this and you're a teacher, so you definitely know that how you can impact the story, how you can ensure that the story is remembered, and someone can have total recall because of different ways. Just thinking of the stories that we sang as little children, how I learned my ABC was from a song. How I learned my numbers was from a song. I even remember when I was learning my multiplication table, it was a song. It went like a song, 1 times 1 is, 1 times 2 is, it was a song. And it allowed the child to remember what it was that they were learning. So the fact that we have songs in this book, apart from the capturing of the stories, I love that that is a way to help us all remember, adults and children. I'd like to welcome Catherine Silva. Catherine Silva is also a co-author in this book. Welcome. It is good to see you here, Catherine. Jane Kuvuna says, Jane Kuvuna here says, that is true. Some of us did not hear such stories. Yes, Jane, you're like me. You did not hear the stories. So these books make a lot of sense and bring us value. And yes, it is a good idea, like you say. So you also go on to say, I beg your pardon, that there are also ways of bringing people together. And this is true. Joy, how do you comment to that telling these stories are ways of bringing people together? What are your comments?
Absolutely, I agree, because one thing I would say, Kenya is a diverse community. We have every community has so much to offer, and we have so much to learn from all these other communities. Just the 7 authors from 7 communities only. We've not even covered the whole of Kenya. But when you read the stories, you see, wow, there's so much to learn from each other, and there's so much positivity that comes from each and every community. So I would say, yes, the stories they bring, just what you said, Lucy, earlier, you grew up from, you come from, 2 different communities. You're a product of 2 different communities. And when you read these stories, they really help you to understand, how our communities, the Kikuyu, the Kalenjin, the Kisii, and the Seychelles stories, how they impact our lives even to date, despite having missed out on those moments. So yeah, I totally agree with you. Yes.
Wow. Tell us, I'm curious, what do you hope to achieve with this book?
So this book is all about Kenya, and it's all about sharing what we Kenyans have. So when I got the inspiration to write this book, I thought about my son, but I thought about all the other children, other children who will never have these moments, but what this book will be able to teach them. So for us, writing this book is about passing on the values that we picked, that we learned from our great-grandparents and from our parents. And what we hope to achieve is that, this book will impact not just this generation, but the generations to come. Because once you put something in a book, it outlives you.
Yeah. That is so powerful right there. Documentation, and as Africans, we need to embrace documentation, because this is what gives us power of our stories. We know we've got so many stories, but what is happening today, Joy? We are consuming stories from other cultures outside our borders, and we seem to be conforming to them, where actually we should be understanding where we're coming from. So by the time we are hearing stories from outside our borders, we're able to sit back, appreciate them for what they are, not that we want to become that, because we already have our own story. So I'm absolutely loving that. So how has it impacted your community, putting these stories together?
Yeah, so this book was recently printed. Actually, is it in it was recently printed, and we have sold out some copies to those of us who ordered the book. And I would say the feedback that we've received from those who have read the book, wow, is amazing. It just makes me feel like, wow, this was actually supposed to be a blessing to people, because those who have been reading it, to first of all to themselves and to their children. I've had people order this book even from Germany. I have someone who got the book from in Germany, and someone else from Europe. And they tell me, wow, this book is amazing, because these are the people who never lived in Africa. They're Kenyans and Tanzanians, never lived in Africa at all. But when they bought the book, they're like, wow, we missed out on so much. But this book is really bringing, so many lessons to us that we never got a chance. And it's connecting us to our roots. And I mean, that's just so good to hear someone saying that, and just knowing that this book is actually making sense to them and helping them to pick something about our culture that they were never able to experience. And my hope is that it will go, to many people, that many children will be able to read this book. And personally, being in Japan, as I told you, I'm a teacher. I've been given a chance to share about my culture with the people here. And when I read these stories to them, oh, I just feel so good with all the smiles and the questions they ask about my my country and my culture. It just makes me so excited, and I'm so happy that this book, this dream, came to be a reality.
Wow, just you sharing that there's another culture that is celebrating us just because of this medium of this book, where you have these stories in. Again, it just reaffirms what I was saying. First, you need to know your culture so that it gives you a sense of identity. And then you can go out and appreciate other cultures and be able to respect other cultures, because you have a culture. You're not somebody who doesn't have anything that is home to fall back on, something that has a commonality with other people. And I'm loving what Jane is saying here. Jane is saying, true, songs are always ways to remember. Thank you, Jane. And then here we've got Kavi saying, true, the stories will remain. Yes, Joy was saying that the stories outlive us, and definitely they're there. And why am I bringing this up, Joy? Because even as you share, and maybe I am wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, even as you share these stories with the communities that you're in now in Japan, you will find that the values that are being highlighted, spoken about, inculcated are the same. Am I correct in making that fair assumption?
Yes, I totally agree with you, because one of the things, Japan is also a country that is very rich with their culture. And I can tell you, one of the lessons I'm learning about Japan is people. It's not about I community, it's about we. And one of the things, people are so responsible in how they handle everything. There's so much respect. And one of the things, just this week I went to Tokyo, and Tokyo is so big, I got lost. I got lost so many times, and and people would always see this one is lost, and they would come and say, hey, do you need help? And they'll tell you, oh, you need this is a train you need to book here and here. And I felt, wow, here it's about embracing each other. And that is what this story Stories by the Fireplace is all about. I'm embracing the stories from the Kisii community. I'm embracing the stories from all these other communities, because at the end of the day, it is our community, it is our country, it's our Kenya, and we need to just embrace each other and pick out the positive lessons we can learn from each other and celebrate each other.
Wow, it is our Kenya. It is ours. It is us to embrace it. Whatever it is that we do, whatever we pour, whatever cup we pour from, it's then just affirming that we embrace our own culture and that we enjoy to be Kenyans. Wow. So that is the impact of the community. What about on you? How has it impacted your life, Joy?
Well, for me, this has been a dream come true, to be very honest, because I've had so many dreams, Lucy. I've had so many dreams growing up, and because I grew up in Kibera. I'm a product of Kibera, Kibera slums, and I had so many dreams as a young girl, and there were so many things that were limiting me. I'd have dreams, and I would be like, okay, this is not possible. I would have a dream and I'd be like, oh, maybe this is too big. But seeing this come to reality made me realize, oh my goodness, there are so many dreams I had. If only I actually worked on those dreams. If only I, gave into those dreams. So this, when it came to be, I felt, wow, there's nothing that's impossible. When you decide to do something, nothing is impossible. Yes, every dream that you have, it can be done. Just believe in yourself and go for it.
Wow. Well, I'm just going to take a moment right there and just let that sink and land for me. Wow. Your dreams are valid, like we have been told. Huh? We're going to trust in ourselves. And, God already has a designed plan. And he's planning to prosper us. This is his great plan for us. We just need to trust in God. Wow, thank you so much. We've got Sophia Bogonko who's tuning in. Welcome, Sophia. And then we've got a comment here. It is like you are prepared, Joy, to be able to talk about your culture by writing the book. Fantastic, yes. And then we need to go after our dreams. We've just got good engagement here on our session today, and we are loving it. Remember the question for the day. So I do hope that you take a moment to just answer the question for the day for yourself. If anything, if you don't want to share it with us here, that's okay. Ask yourself and take a moment with that question. How are you celebrating the Kenyan diversity? How are you doing that? I'm hoping that your answer will be around intentionality, that you're doing it by purpose, by design, that it's something that is love in your heart and you want to celebrate it. I mean, we are all wearing these bands nowadays with the Kenyan flag, and that already is an identity that we are Kenyans and we are proud to be Kenyans. So how about you get this book and you now get stories of the community, and this can make very good conversations around a dinner table when you've got visitors, whether they're visitors within Kenya or visitors from outside Kenya, a tool for you to be able to celebrate who you are. Yeah, I'm just grateful that we are in this space, and the message that we are getting from Joy right now is there's nothing that's impossible. As long as you have the idea in your head, you have the courage to take it from your head and put it down on a plan and then execute it as you trust God to guide you. Yeah. Yes. So Joy, what call to action do you have for fellow Kenyans and why?
So one thing that I have learned from my own journey as a Kenyan is that Kenya, we have so much to offer. We have so much to offer in terms of our culture, in terms of resources. And just talking about these stories by the fireplace, this is a resource that, my prayer for this book is that one day it will be, it will be used as a set book in our school. you know,
Wow.
because these are amazing lessons that, you know,
We claim
can
it, we claim it,
Yes.
we claim it, Joyce. Sorry for
Amen.
interrupting, but that is a
Yes.
statement that I want to claim. We
In
claim
Jesus'
that it
name.
will be part of our curriculum. Amen.
Yes, amen. That's so true, because there's so much that we can learn from our culture, but technology is coming up and things are changing so fast. But let's not forget the good foundations of our nation and our culture that make us who we are. I think that's what I would say. Kenya has so much to offer. We have so much to offer as a nation. There's so much resources, there's so much knowledge, there's so much culture. But how are we using it? Are we using it to enrich ourselves, or we are letting it just fly away and technology take over? That's my call to action.
So true. We can use these lessons to better ourselves. You know, I go back to the same thing. What are we consuming? Whatever information we are consuming, we have to be intentional about it, because then we know it's going to impact ourselves and our community. Yes, technology is here and it's taking over our lives very fast. It's giving us a lot of conveniences, but it may also have the danger of us forgetting where we came from and the identity that we have. So what message do you have for Kenyans as we get back to work? Because now in Kenya, we're all getting back to work. What message do you have for us?
Well, so first for me is to say, you know, a big congratulations to Kenya, you know, because we have, you know, a new president. And one thing I know is that God is in charge. God is in control. No matter who has taken over, God is in charge. And I know there are some who are celebrating, and others feel, you know, probably they lost. But all in all, I would say seasons, you know, times and seasons belong to God, and you know, God knows who's in charge this season. And so let's continue to keep peace. The most important thing is not one person. Kenya is bigger than one person. That's what I say. We are all Kenyans. We have children to raise. We have work to do, and we need to build our nation. So I would say peace above all else is very important. So let's maintain peace. Let's continue to hold our nation in prayer, because that's very important. You know, yes, we've done the part of choosing the president, but the bigger part remains. We have to continue holding our nation in prayer.
I think that's a very powerful message right now. I'm hearing peace. I'm hearing trust God. I'm hearing that Kenya is bigger than one person. All in all, we need to come together and make things happen for our country, Kenya. And we've already done the hard work in the last 1 week, and now we are getting back to work. We're getting back to work to ensure that this lovely country of Kenya moves forward peacefully. Yes, thank you so much for that. So there you have your message, Kenyans. We are getting back to work. And how are we getting back to work? Peacefully. Well, Joy, you have talked very passionately about this book. Where can we find it?
Well, so this book, you can find this book by contacting me. So if you send me a message, be it on WhatsApp or on Facebook, on my social media pages, you'll be able to get a hard copy if you're in Kenya. But if you're not in Kenya, you can find this book on Amazon. So it's on Kindle, both Kindle and Amazon hard book. So you can be able to get it. So yeah, just go to Amazon or just get in touch with me. I'll send you the link, and I'll be able to connect you to this book. So, but if you're in Kenya, it's possible to get a hard copy. Just need to send me a message, and I'll have someone deliver it to you.
Okay, I'm just putting it here in the chat. Stories by the Fireplace. And I'm putting down Joy's contacts. So there's her WhatsApp number there. You're also going to find her Facebook handle. You're going to find her IG handle and TikTok. So you can actually reach out to Joy directly to get a copy of the book, or just to be able to interact with her, because there are other things that Joy does, and like what she had mentioned in the beginning, Joy is a founder. Joy, you told us what it was that you did, and you mentioned that you're a founder of Impart a Generation, you're a peace ambassador, and you also mentioned something about mental health, and maybe our audience would want to get in touch with you. So guys, those are her contacts there. And please feel free to reach out to her. We're just going to ask her a few questions about that right now. But first, we want to know, what next for you as an author, Joy?
Well, so we have a project. So we are going to, this was volume 1 as it's written in the book. So volume 2, we're actually looking for stories from other communities in Africa. So we want to embrace the whole of Africa. Yes, so other communities, both in Kenya and the rest of Africa. So we are currently looking for others, people who want to contribute. So anyone who wants to contribute for volume 2, please get in touch with me, or you can get in touch with the other authors, Catherine or Lewis or myself, and we'll be able to give you information in regards to how you can be part of volume 2.
That is powerful, amazing. We're going for a volume 2, and it's going to be Africa, not only Kenyan. Look at this, the dream that you had, Joy, and it's just taking a life of its own and becoming even bigger than you. This is amazing.
Absolutely.
This is amazing. Yeah, well, tell us a little bit about you being on the advisory committee. You're an advisory committee member of the General Mental Health International. Tell us a little bit about that, because today mental wellness is something that is so important for us, and we need to know about mental wellness and whatever assistance we can get out there, or tools that we can use. So we cannot hear enough of mental wellness. Could you just tell us a little bit about this?
So Generation Mental Health is a global organization. It's based in the US, but they have partners from other countries around the world. And so I was appointed as a committee member, and this is all about bringing people together, people with lived experiences. And why people with lived experiences? Because people who have lived experiences in mental health, be it you probably face depression or PTSD or bipolar, so they bring these people together so that they can together strategize and plan programs to be able to reach out. Our main focus being advocacy, because advocacy is very important. You know, reaching out to people and letting them know about mental health, that's awareness creation, and that's where it all starts. And that's a very important aspect in terms of creating mental health awareness. And the other thing that we are currently doing right now is fellowship. So we are putting together a fellowship and bringing together mentors and trainers who can work with especially students. We are looking at university students, because when you look at the most affected age group in terms of mental health wellness and suicide is the age group between 14 and 25. That's the most affected age group. So those are people you find in universities and colleges. So we are putting up a fellowship together to bring them together, do training so that we can reach out to more people in universities and colleges. Yes.
Wow.
So that is about that's it about Generation Mental Health.
Mental health, yeah. Yes. I really think, I believe, and I'm sure many people stand with me on this belief, that this is a very much needed skill. And the fact that you already are part of it adds even more value to you. Even as you're going around with a book and perhaps reading out these stories, there's that aspect of mental wellness that you're bringing across. And for this, anybody who is involved in this walks away with good value, because today the mental wellness is not only about the community that you're in, but it is there worldwide. And even the corporates today are looking for counselors to be part of their staff so that mental wellness can be addressed. So how are we dealing with this? And if you are already taking care of the youth, by the time they come into the working environment, then they're already prepared, and they're prepared to be able to handle, to cope with the stresses of what the modernization world brings us, because these are real issues that happen to us. Today, the world is moving so fast, and for us to keep up, we need to focus on other things and leave other things. But again, we are human beings, and I learned this acronym, which is FOMO, fear of missing out. And usually this you're going to find with the younger generation. They want to be part of everything, but this then comes at a high price. So mental health is important. Thank you so much for being part of that. Wow, you're so impactful, Joy, in the things that you do. You're so impactful, you know, and we thank you. Well, we've come to the end of our session, and I like to leave my audience always with 3 takeaways. 3 takeaways that can be able to bring whatever we have discussed, can be able to bring it to a point where they can consume it easily. So Joy, over to you. What 3 takeaways do you have for us? Or can you give us or advise us, for want of a better word, when it comes to what you have told us today, so that we can be able to feel free to celebrate our Kenyan diversity?
Well, my number 1 takeaway is trust God, and trust your plans to God, and just commit your plans to God. That's very important. And I share that from my own experience, that, you know, God is at the center of everything I do in my life. So I would tell you, trust in God, commit your plans to Him. That's the first and most important thing. The second thing I would say is, whatever goals, dreams you have, believe in yourself. Believe you can do it. Believe you can do it, and go for those dreams. Like I told you, growing up, I had so many dreams, but I always felt like I belittled myself, and I felt, oh, I can't do this, you know, maybe this is not for me. And I missed out on so many of them. But now I am going for every dream. I'm going for every dream that comes to my mind, because this book has actually encouraged me. It's really pushed me from my comfort zone. So that's amazing. And one more thing I'd love to add onto that is that choose the right people to work with. And as this book would not have been possible if it was not all the other I got like almost 20 people who said they want to be part of this, but we ended up with 7 contributors. And I'd say out of the 7 contributors, Lewis and Catherine have been a backbone. These 2 people.
Wow.
I just want to say, if you have a dream, look for the right people who will believe in you and push you and remind you, you have to do this. You got, just reminding you, we got this, you know, because for sure, Lucy, you can have a dream and go tell someone and tell you, no, you can't do it. I just forget about that. That's not for you. They discourage you. But these 2 people, they have been, I don't know what to say, but these are people I celebrate. And these are people who have really made it happen. So I would say those 3 have been really life lessons that I have learned from the experience of writing this book.
Wow. Wow. I love that. Our 3 takeaways: your dreams are valid, believe in yourself as you put your trust in God, and also the people that you surround yourself with. This is just amazing. And a little, by the way, anybody who wants to write a book, Joy, can we approach you if you want to write a book? Can you direct us in a way of finding someone to help us write a book? Do you have any connections that you can share with us?
Yes, I would say, well, if anyone wants to write a book, I'm here to help with any kind of mentorship and just sharing my journey and how it was, because I can tell you again, Lucy, it's never easy. You have to get committed to it. And I can tell you, one of the authors, I remember he telling us, because we had so many meetings back and forth, we're like, okay, when do we start? He said one thing that stuck with me. If you're gonna do this, let's start today. And I told myself, whenever I want to do something, I'm starting today. That's very important.
Yeah. Well,
so
thank you so
today.
much, Joy. Thank you so much. That is powerful. Start day. Thank you so much, Joy, for providing this platform, this amazing platform to celebrate our Kenyan diversity and for reminding us that we are Kenyans first. Thank you so much. And we do look forward to welcoming you once again to Tuesday Talks at 3. And enjoy Japan, and we look forward to meeting you face to face soon. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you. That was our session today, episode 3 on celebrating our Kenyan diversity. Our next guest is Stephen Ogueno, and he is a co-author in this very same book. And he shares with us his inspirational story. You do not want to miss this. In the meantime, subscribe to our YouTube channel, LMC Consultancy, for the recording of this session, and share with us your feedback. We always like to improve ourselves. We want your feedback. You can feedback to us through IG, through Facebook, this particular thread here and now, or even after. Now, we have launched our online courses, yeah? Visit our website, www.lmcconsultancy.com, and sign up for personal development or customer service and take through all those units and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. This is brand spanking new. We would love for it to spread like wildfire. My book, as you can see right here, the title is Awakening Self. It's available on my social media channels. All you have to do is go in there, find out where and how you can get the book, and so that you can be able to read this story, my story, and the story of 12 other authors. So check out our social media platforms for the balance of August and what it is that we are doing. The message is here for you. If you know of any Kenyan author who would like to be featured here on Tuesday Talks at 3, then please DM us their contacts so that we can reach out to them. Yeah, we want to keep on building one another. So until next Tuesday, our next episode, be kind to yourselves. Bye-bye now.